What's good, y'all? Blacksmith here, and today we're here to talk about Mortal Kombat 2. Hard to believe it's been 5 years since the reboot of the movie franchise in 2021 with the first Mortal Kombat movie, but the sequel is finally here. So with that 5-year wait for the sequel, the number one question is, was it worth it? Let's talk about it. The battle between Earthworld and Outworld continues in this sequel with a few new faces. With characters such as Johnny Cage and Katana leading the story, we also see other familiar faces like Raiden, Shao Kahn, and my man Baraka right here. He's so dope in the movie. And a lot of other characters from the video games also show up to fight for ultimate dominance and control over the dimensions. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot, so now let's get into these pros and cons. The first pro I want to talk about, the action. Now there's not much I could say about the action because it really gave me everything I was expecting from a Mortal Kombat movie. And because we all know that Mortal Kombat is based on a video game and how violent that can get, you got a lot of it in this movie too. Probably a lot more than you got in the first movie. All of the fights were well choreographed and at times were well shot, to the point where it almost seemed like you were looking at the video game itself. The second pro I want to talk about, the execution of the story. And I'll be speaking on it as it compares to the first one because this is a direct sequel as far as the story goes, but it didn't seem that way. This movie didn't focus on all of the plot points, or really any of the plot points from the first movie, and that's what made it so great. It gave it variety. This movie didn't have to rehash all the events that happened in the first movie and bring that into the screen time of this one in order for the audience to get it. So I really appreciate how they were able to add variety in the story this time around, especially with the new characters. And for the third pro, I'd like to talk about the production. But there is going to be a con side to this, but we're going to focus on the pros for right now. All of the production choices for this movie were complete fan service. From the characters they chose, to the fighting styles they chose, to even the stages. There were some stages from the video game that I've always wanted to see on the big screen in live action, and I actually got to do it. I felt like a kid again. The kid in me was definitely excited to see everything that played out in the production. I will say though, when it comes to my man Baraka, I didn't think he would play the role that he played. He seemed to be a lot more of one character, and we got to see another side of him, which I'm happy about. It was just a bit different. It threw me off a bit. And if you're a Mortal Kombat fan and already aware of some characters from the video game series, then you might be a little bit thrown off too, but it might be in a good way. And if you're unfamiliar, then it'll just be an interesting watch when it comes to the characters. Alright, now it's time to get into some cons. The first con I want to talk about, the acting. At certain times in this movie, it seems as if some of the actors were phoning in their performances. I don't know what it was, but when it came to Carl Urban's Johnny Cage or even Lord Raiden, it seemed as if they were just going with the motions at certain times, or doing what they thought the character would do, and they did it in a sloppy way at times. It felt a little cheesy when it comes to some of the acting, not just from them, but from the whole cast. My second and last con is the second half of the production that I was talking about earlier. As well choreographed as most of these scenes were, it did seem to have at times a more corny, B-stylish type of CGI feel to it. There were some scenes that just looked like a bad cosplay rendition of Mortal Kombat. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the lighting, maybe it was the camera angle, but some scenes in this movie just seemed a bit off and corny. It just didn't seem authentic and real. It didn't seem believable. But I can also understand that it might be hard to get some of that authentic look from a video game into a live action movie, but at the same time, I should not be recognizing that some of these scenes look off because of some sort of production choice that make the characters look like a horrible cosplay. But the fighting makes up for it. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. This was a great sequel to the Mortal Kombat franchise, and I think that everybody, regardless of whether or not you're a Mortal Kombat fan, should be checking this one out. Thanks for checking out my review. Let me know if you plan on seeing this movie. Let me know if you've already seen it and what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about my review, and give this video a like and your boy a follow. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace.